Okay. That was Phoenix, Oregon, but that is Klamath Falls film. Now, can we get the dowser open? Because we should have, hopefully, some people joining us. Hey, look at that. Okay. Hello. We should be joined momentarily by Jesse Borrego as well. We have Reynaldo Gallegos and Gary Lundgren and Luis Rodriguez. We don't have picture for you, Luis. Hopefully we can get that shortly. These are some of the members. Now, I will say when we had the approval for the Oregon Film Trail marker, we reached out to managers, we reached out to agents, we tried contacting people directly through social media, everything we could do to try to get a full cast reunion. Unfortunately, some of the cast members are filming today, and so that's why they're not available. Diedrich Bader is filming today, and Kevin Corrigan is in Mexico filming. Lisa Edelstein, you may know from the TV show on Fox, 911 Lone Star. They're filming right now, so she couldn't join us either. But we have these fantastic people, Luis, Reynaldo, Gary, and hopefully Jesse will be on here in just a moment as well. First of all, let's go to Reynaldo. Reynaldo, thank you, sir, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Reynaldo played Mario in Phoenix, Oregon. It's always more fun being the bad guy, right?
actually, it is.
So, in addition to Phoenix, Oregon, you may recognize Reynaldo from films like Logan, American Sniper, Rambo, even Spider-Man 3, American Wedding, and Bad Boys 2, as well as TV shows like Charmed, Sons of Anarchy, Animal Kingdom, Gang-Related, NCIS, CSI, 24, and Cold Case. That is an impressive IMDb, sir.
Oh, thank you. You're happy.
And there's Luis. Hello, sir. Good to see you again.
How's it going, guys?
There's a little bit of a lag, so my apologies with the sound. Luis played Rudy in the film. Luis is actually lives in Phoenix, Oregon. He's an actor as well as a filmmaker and a producer. You may have seen him in films like Night Moves, Redwood Highway. He was also one of the producers of Phoenix, Oregon, as well as Black Road, Concrete Canvas, and currently in production, I understand, of a documentary, right?
Somewhat.
Okay. Gary Lundgren is the writer and director of the film. In addition to Phoenix, Oregon, he's also directed Black Road, Concrete Canvas, Calvin Marshall, and Wow and Flutter. Hello, Gary. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Sorry about the tech issues earlier today.
No worries. Thanks for doing this, Kurt.
And there we go. There's Jesse. Jesse Borrego. Hello, sir.
Yo, can y'all hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. You're coming through.
Okay, good. Man, it's great to see my boys.
Jesse.
So, Jesse played Carlos in the film, of course, the pizza cook. Jesse's IMDb is about a mile long, so if I listed off everything he's been in, we'd be here until midnight. But you may recognize him from some films like Line of Duty, the film Con Air, The New World, Follow Me Home, Mi Vida Loca. He's been on TV shows like ER, Fear the Walking Dead, American Crime, Dexter, 24, CSI, Fame, and Miami Vice. Extraordinary career, sir. Hopefully we still have you. It looks like you might have frozen for a second there. So we tried to we tried to get the entire cast together, get the band back together, but unfortunately a few of your cast members are filming today, so they couldn't join us. But regardless, thank you, all of you, for being here. For our audience and for everyone who's joining us via live stream, hello from Klamath Falls, Oregon, and the Ross Ragland Theater. To our cast and director virtually, welcome back to Klamath Falls. We have two microphones in the audience here, one there and one there. If anyone in the audience does have a question, simply walk up and ask it, and it'll come through the PA. But first of all, I want to give all of you guys a chance to catch up. I know you've collaborated on a few projects over the years, but probably haven't seen this crew in a while. So first of all, open question to all of you: what are your fondest memories of being able to work on Phoenix, Oregon?
All right, who wants to take that one? I'll take first.
I think I'm gonna volunteer to have Ray start. I'm gonna volunteer you, Ray. So
All right.
so Ray was actually working on a big picture during the time that he did Phoenix, Oregon, and so he was working on a Ben Affleck film, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so I really liked kind of in the past hearing about like the contrast and like some of the things that you liked about, you know, being on a big picture and then being on a small picture. Could tell us a little bit about like, you know, kind of that difference and the experience of going from a giant movie set to Klamath Falls.
Yeah, it was. It's always, every set's always different. Wherever you're flying, wherever you're ending up, you never know what the energy is going to be like. But I did lead a rather large project, monetarily speaking, and with the size of the cast, it was really over the top. Everything, places we stayed, everything was over the top. But the major contrast I had is flying into Klamath Falls. I knew that I had a direct line to Gary. Direct line to Luis. And I knew that if there were times that I needed to talk to either one of them about something, I could just literally step to my left or step to my right and have that conversation. Whereas on a larger film, you're going through assistants and, you know, ADs and people just, you got to write your notes down or email the director, and it's very difficult. So leaving that is fun. We were in Hawaii. I'm not going to complain. I had my wife with me, so we're having a good time. But coming to Klamath Falls, just driving to Klamath Falls was breathtaking, first off. So you guys have a beautiful place that you live in. Coming around out of the forest to that giant, beautiful blue lake was something else. And everybody in town was just open-armed. You know, I got to the hotel, open-armed, right away. Everybody was so kind. And nobody, I don't know if they had any idea what we were doing there, but the energy in the town itself was lovely. And then the minute I got to meet the cast and stand with Jesse, the legendary Jesse Borrego, of course, and Lisa and James, and to see these people that Gary had pulled together, it just felt like a big breath of fresh air. And it was nice to slow down and to know that there was a very easy communication line there, and that being creative was going to be that much easier because of it.
Nice.
Jesse, you're
Nice.
muted.
There I am. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I love the fact that, you know, artists like Ray can come in and, you know, this was a tribute to Ray, to Diedrich, to Kevin. I mean, the fact that these hotshots, these assassins can come in and just nail it, you know, with so little prep and just bring these wonderful characters. And you know, I know Ray gets to do a lot of heavy stuff, so I'm sure it was so much fun. Mario
Yes.
Bentley's a great character, dude. I mean,
Yes.
but I mean, I was just amazed that you guys could do that and just drop in and pull it off so beautifully. But you know, that's what we do.
Yeah, it also goes to the writing. I mean, we know that as talent. When we read,
All the way.
as soon as we read it, we know whether it speaks to us, or we think, oh, well, we have to reshape that or figure it out. But with Gary's script, it was very straightforward. You could feel it was from the heart, so it was easy to just let the words come out.
Well, Gary, we were actually going to have join us earlier today because this afternoon we unveiled a historic marker recognizing the film Phoenix, Oregon on the Oregon Film Trail. And we have technical difficulties, so I want to welcome in Gary here and give him a chance to talk a little bit about what it means to not only have made the #1 movie in America, technically, and I'm sure Jesse and Ray, you've probably been involved in #1 films in the past, but nothing quite like Phoenix, Oregon. And now to have a historic marker that will forever recognize the making of Phoenix, Oregon in Klamath Falls.
It's very cool. I guess I would just say that Klamath Falls was the right place to make this movie. I know it's called Phoenix, Oregon, but it was in Klamath where we found our allies. We found our locations, we found support, we found investors, we found a film festival there, and some lovely people who have built up the Klamath Film program there, and it was just the right place to make the film. And I think it's just having this cast and crew come together. We had people from, obviously, these guys from LA. We had crew from Portland. We had a nice group of people coming together to make the film. So this is just sort of like the marker means something, because you make a movie once, but you hope it lives on. You hope people keep watching it, and that it keeps gaining new fans and new appreciation as the months and years begin to pass. And hopefully this marker will help that a little bit.
Ooh. To reiterate what Gary said, I mean, I watched the festivities from the beginning, and I've been involved with loving this film post production in many ways. I know Gary likes to call me the spiritual cheerleader of the film, but that's because I understand what we as artists, what's important to us, and what's important is truth. What's important is, in that world of entertainment, right? We want to entertain, but I know that I'm speaking for Ray and Louie and Gary when we talk about as artists. We want to be truthful, and we want to say something that not only makes people laugh and cry, but we want them to walk away with something beautiful. And in order to do that, you do need allies. And so I think the community of Klamath Falls, not only starting with Ben and Kim, the Pipers, our executive producers, but throwing down, not only their expertise and their love, but the rest of the town opening up. I mean, Barry gave this great send off. He was our voice there this morning or this afternoon when they were dedicating the plaque. But what he said was so true, because he understood. He understood at a certain moment that he wasn't just giving up his space and his economy. He was giving something to the project. And that made me so proud when he said that. And he quoted me by saying that this film, what we do here, and I was trying to let him know, what you're doing here is special for these people. And because you're allowing them to have this space creatively, it's going to do something. And I just watched the film again, and I realized that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of locations and set prep and everything that he gave to us. And not only did it show off Hanscom's, but it showed off the beauty of what Gary had wanted to do, the vision. So all of us just being able to play in that space is one thing, but the fact that Klamath Falls gave itself up to be that space. I mean, Ray's office, the places that we shot as the restaurants, man, just give and give. And when you look at it now, and I realized, oh my God, that is such a big part of this film's appeal. And so I think that's the beauty of the plaque being there, is that it makes all that real and we can remember it. And it's not just a dream that we have as artists and indie filmmakers.
Well, Jesse, you mentioned the man, and here he is right here. Barry Hanscom is joining us.
Brother! Just so you know, Barry, I have that shirt that you gave me, and one of these days I'm going to bust it out when we do the return to Klamath Falls, the return to Gary Hanscom's.
Well, thank you, Jesse, and I tell everybody what you said about the movie. This movie's going to live forever, and our grandchildren are going to be watching this movie when we're long dead and gone. And I've tried to spread this movie, and I appreciate everybody coming to Klamath Falls and looking at us and picking our site, because like Annie said, this, and Gary said, this is the perfect place. We found our place.
Found our place.
And, I just wanted to make it work for Klamath Falls and the community. And all the actors were great and wonderful. We managed to get it all like to thank all the actors and everything that came and put Klamath Falls on the map and made us a great movie, so we can all have something to look forward to. And this historical marker is really going to be nice.
Well, we couldn't have done it without you, brother.
And I was hoping that Dave Boner would be here, but I'm not seeing him in the audience. But Dave played Joe in the film, the bowling assistant technician, and he is the only. I mean, his day job is actually as the bowling technician at Hanscom's Bowling Alley. So Dave is the only bowling technician, to my knowledge, in the world that has his own IMDb page. Thanks to this movie.
Hey, but don't forget, Dave is also a real boomer. One of the things we did is we had a little tournament there, and Dave blew us all away, right, Gary? Didn't it? I mean, didn't he? He won the tournament, but you realized, oh, this guy's a real boo. I mean, he's a real. He could have been a pro. He can roll.
Do you have Dave on the clock right now back at the alley, and that's why he's not here with us?
He might even be working down there, because I bowl with him. I used to bowl with him twice a week, but we bowl on Sunday afternoon, and he averages like 212, 215, and he's really good at it. He's the head mechanic at our place and keeps our lanes working. And he was instrumental in coming in the morning, letting the guys in, setting up everything, helping get everything. And Gary and the crew know that Dave did a lot of setup to help make the place look like old and ruined and beat up and look like crap, and then bring it back to like it should be, because we were still open at the time.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's why it's so important that an ally such as yourself gets involved, because you see what it takes to make that illusion happen. And the other thing is, you kept that place in such great shape that it was easy to make it seem like, like they'd restored it to prime working condition. But also, again, that freedom of creativity to be able to go in the back, to be able to use all your spaces that you had there. I mean, that's invaluable, and you really should be proud of that marker, because it's as much all of ours as it is Klamath Falls. So right on, brother. Many, many years to Hanscom's Bowling Alley, but hey, it's going to live there forever on the golden screen. So congratulations to us.
We hope that the bowling center still continues for a while, but my birthday was yesterday, and I'm 69, and one of these times I'm going to want to retire, but with things going on, it just kind of makes me want to continue to serve the community and serve the people. And I was just glad to have the opportunity to make this movie, because like from what Gary and Nanny told me, they went all over the state looking for a place, but everybody wanted too much money or only wanted to give them half the bowling center. I gave them a whole complete sealed building as a sound stage for like 2 weeks, and they just took advantage of it and really did a good job at it. And I was amazed at how well they could and how well it turned out. And really, Jesse, you really shown a really good part of making this movie as to what it should be. And I'd like to thank you personally for being so good at it.
Well,
thank you, sir. Thank you to Klamath Falls, especially. Yes.
I'm curious, and Gary and Luis, we've talked before, but for Jesse and Ray, I know you guys have been in a lot of really big movies and huge TV shows. Have you ever been a part of a project that garnered a historic marker?
No. There you go. I'll take it. Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
Well, Luis and Gary, also, I wanted to give a chance for you guys. Now, Gary, we talked before on the Q&A, so maybe Luis, maybe your favorite memories of the production of Phoenix, Oregon, and your thoughts now that you got to work on the #1 movie in America and have a historic marker to show it.
Yeah, that's a really difficult question, because just the entire experience from front to back, was pretty incredible. I mean, first from the start, Gary has been a friend of mine for many years, and I consider him one of my mentors. And so just from the beginning, getting handed a copy of the script and then taking it into pre-production. I mean, it was just a beautiful experience all around. And then going into production with these great actors with such great attitudes, in a welcoming city. It's a really hard question, man, because just for me personally, it was a wonderful experience from the day that we decided we were going to make the film to today. You know what I mean? And so, so that's. I know it's not really a pinpoint answer, but that's the answer I got. It's just the whole thing was a great experience.
Do we have any? If we have any questions from the audience, remember you can walk up to one of the microphones and ask the guys. It's quite all right. One thought that comes to me, all of the pizza in the film, by the way, was provided by Rodeos. How sick of you were pizza by the end of making of the film?
I wanted more.
We weren't sick of it at all.
Yeah.
More Elisas, more calabreses.
Mario paid for that pizza and never got a slice. I want to talk to the director about that.
Yeah. Well, we came up with Carlos came up with a special pizza called the Mario Bentley, dude.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You open the box, it's gone.
It's got kale. It's got weird stuff like that, dude. Pineapple. It's got pineapple.
I always, being actors, I'm sure, when you guys were getting started, maybe you did some TV commercials. I always think of, you watch like the fast food ads or whatever, and everyone bites into a burger and they look like, they're having an orgasm practically. The greatest hamburger ever. Well, that's like take 40 of biting into like 40 different hamburgers.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Curious if in the course of film production, if you're like, I'm never eating pizza for like the next 4 months after the end of this film.
No, actually, sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Say real quick. I was going to say you can always tell. You can always tell the difference in actors when one has been around a long time and one is new. If there's food in the scene, the new actor will eat it. The seasoned actor knows that if he eats it once, he's going to eat it 40 times, so he won't eat food.
That's right, baby.
That's for sure.
Pay attention, actors. You just heard something there, man. Pay attention from a master. Don't be eating in the scene for real. Yeah, man. I was watching one of the scenes in the film, and James LeGros is like chewing in the whole scene. It's classic, and you can tell he, as an actor, he probably doesn't have anything in his mouth. He's killing it. And I think that was the other great thing is that Gary just, with the film that he wrote, not just inspiring us as a director, but as a writer, like Ray said, when you read something, you're excited. And I think when the script came to me, I was just tickled to be able to play a great Latino character that was American, that was just himself, that was everything that we want to portray in a film, and that also the film the narrative isn't patronizing our culture. And I thought I enjoyed that. I think that a lot of that is the relationship that Louis and Gary have as producer directors, and a lot of that came across in the writing. But I think that's also understanding as an American writer and a filmmaker, what a good narrative is, and it's representative of who we are as human beings. And that allows people like us, like me and Ray as artists, and Kevin and Lisa, oh my God, her Tanya, I was just watching that film today, and she's just so brilliant, the subtleties that she brings to that character. And I thought, man, they're just not writing this for any actor, because they're trying to fit it into genres. And, there's this great article that Scorsese wrote in Variety about the death of cinema, and how the death of cinema is the fact that we consider it content now. We're creating content, and it's killing, the idea of what it is. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is that Gary in the indie world was able to make cinema, and that makes us all joyful. So I think then you see James and Lisa and Diedrich and me and Ray and Kevin and Louis just come across and do what we love to do. And that just fills the screen. And I even told Gary, I said, look, because I saw him there towards the end of the weeks there, really worried. He had like 20 setups to shoot in 2 days, and how was he? And I saw his mind whirling as a producer and as a director. But I saw what everybody was bringing in front of the camera. And so I pulled him over. I don't know if you remember this, Gary. And it was kind of like a pep talk. And I went, hey, dude, I know you're worried about making all these setups and finishing. I go, but when you sit in post and you look at this and you're able to just absorb what everybody's done, you're going to be able to put together the film you want to make. Because I knew what every one of us was doing in front, because we were feeling that love of what was behind. And so I think all of that is what Klamath Falls and that plaque represents, is all of that love that comes from being in that situation, so, and Gary and Annie were the leaders of that. So, it's appreciative, And that film crew, man, those people were wearing multiple hats. But again, every single one of those Oregon filmmakers is a filmmaker and a director and a producer and writer in their own right. So when they came to work for Gary and for Luis, they knew what they were doing. We knew we were making magic.
We have a question from the audience. Lindsay over here. Hello, Lindsay. Thank you for helping out earlier today, one of our volunteers.
Of course. Thanks, Kurt. This is a question for Gary. We're so used to seeing films come out of Hollywood, and Hollywood is basically set up for that sort of industry. So just as a filmmaker, what would you say are the biggest selling points for future filmmakers to come here to Klamath Falls to film?
Oh, gosh. I would say, telling a story, you need people, obviously. You need characters that want something, and characters that are trying to accomplish something in a narrative, and there's conflict, of course. But so much of a movie is the setting. It's where are you? What city are you in? What time of year are you in? And I think, the big cities have had plenty of movies made about them, in them, around them. We've all seen movies in New York and LA. And I think what the great thing about independent cinema is you can make a backdrop anywhere from any town. And I think the Northwest is an exciting place to make movies. I think it's sort of an untapped backdrop, really. There's only a handful of movies that have been shot here, whether they're independent or from Hollywood. So I guess I would say, if for Hollywood or for any filmmaker, there's a whole backdrop here of beautiful country and incredible crews in Portland and in Southern Oregon. So we have TV shows we're developing for this area. And so hopefully we'll get a bigger show here at some point, where we can create jobs and create the industry here, which is something we've been trying to do for a long time. This is the fourth film we've made in Oregon, and we're going to make more. And the more the merrier. So if there are producers and stories that need to be told, this is a great place to do it.
Well, Gary,
and to dovetail on that, earlier Tim Williams talked about the importance of the Oregon Film Trail, and that's why I think these markers and what it represents, and what the Oregon Film Office has done to incentivize that and to support people like the Lundgrens and people and the Oregon film crews. So I think that's why it's so important that we celebrate not only what the historic markers mean, but the actual films that they represent. Because that's what it's all about. If we can keep it there, and then your industry is going to grow, and it's going to invite artists like us and it's going to allow towns like Klamath Falls to thrive in that way that they need to, as backdrops, as centers of industry, as talent. A lot of the local people were great. You got Oregon Shakespeare Film Festival right up the road, so you've got great talent in the state.
Well, Gary and Luis, keep us on your short list for potential locations, and call me if you got a script idea.
Okay.
Oh, we have another. We have another question from the audience over here.
So, hi, thanks so much for everything. Wonderful film. I was wondering about the artist and, who made those comics, and were the comics made for the film, or did you find them, or, what was up with that? They were wonderful.
It's actually an artist here in Southern Oregon. Vince is a great graphic novelist. He's a comic book artist. Our production designer, Dave Marshall, actually introduced me to him. Actually, Louis knew Vince also, and we connected before the film, well before the film, and started storyboarding the graphic novel. Really, it was only about 20 pages of a graphic novel because we only needed so many images to see in the movie. And yeah, we needed the pages before we shot the movie too, because they had to appear throughout the film. So yeah, we had to be sort of, the prep was important in that regard.
Wow.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up or no? Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We still have a few minutes here, so I want to check in and see if there were any kind of behind-the-scenes funny moments or practical jokes or bloopers that didn't count out of the film that you guys can recall.
I can say that there were two moments for me that really made me laugh. One of the crew members, the very first day that I flew in to work, we shot the scene at the bar where I come to meet Lisa and James is bartending, and it's kind of it's an awkward situation for James's character. I come, Rico Suave into the bar and do my thing. So
brilliant.
We do one take, and I had yet to speak to anyone, I think, beside Gary or Annie and Lisa and James, but not the crew. So we do one take, and as soon as we're done with that, the gentleman operating the boom mic looks at me and goes, "Wow, I was wondering who were going to get to do that. So are you just naturally overconfident?" That just made me laugh so hard. You talk about great directors when they have faith in you as a talent. Now, I like directors having faith in me as a talent, but when you walk onto set and the director looks at you and says, "Here's the Japanese you're going to speak in 30 minutes," that's a little. Gary had a lot of confidence.
I love it.
That was something, yeah.
Had you never spoken Japanese before?
No. They had a gentleman there who had taught himself to write and read Japanese, and he spent some time with me and phonetically broke it down for me.
Wow. I believed it. I believed it. I was like, look at that. I know Ray knew Japanese. That's cool.
I think Gary's favorite part of that scene is when I laugh in the middle of speaking Japanese because I really don't know what I'm saying anymore, but somehow I found
Great.
Yeah, that moment cracks me up because you laugh pretty hard after you say something, but I have no idea what you were saying.
What's so great, Ray, is that as much as he's the heavy, you want to see Mario Bentley again, man. You want him to pop up in the movie there again.
Let's go. Let's shoot another one.
Maybe there's a in the works there about Mario as like some sort of spinoff, Gary.
Getting a movie made is so difficult that it's a miracle we made this and it turned out good. That's the way I look at it. And I hope we get a chance to make another one with these actors. Yeah, I'm in for the Mario spinoff.
Well, with that in mind, Luis, since you are also a producer on the film, maybe Luis and Gary, you can both talk about assembling your cast. And we've talked about this before when you guys came here about a year ago. We did an interview, and all of your films have a collective theme. Calvin Marshall, Black Road, and so on. You're not nailing like the super A-list, big up on the marquee talents. But Jesse and Ray and Luis, I'm sure you've gotten this question 1,000 times over. Hey, aren't you that guy who was in that thing? Because every film that Gary puts together, he has extraordinary actors who've been in 1,000 different things. You're like, I think I know that person. I know that face. I maybe don't know the name, but man, I know them from something. And you always get the best talent all around. I'm always so impressed by your films every time. So could you talk about your selections for actors for this film? How you got Jesse and Ray involved, and Lisa and James and Diedrich?
Yeah, it's a process like anything. I think getting James on board was sort of the first step, and I luckily had been in a position where I knew him. I'd worked with him before, and so I just approached him and said, "Hey, I wrote this. I was thinking of you." James is a pro, he's a pro. He's a working actor. He's been working a long time, and he was quick to say yes. I'll just say that that's not always the case when you're trying to cast movies. You can go, the agents can give you the runaround. They can take forever to get back to you. You don't know if they actually got the script or not. So all kinds of obstacles can happen when you're trying to cast a movie. But I will say, once James came on board, it kind of created a little credibility. He's got a good reputation. We have a great casting director, Christine Sheeks, who I've worked with for a long time. She's got really good taste. She knows great talent, and if she recommends someone, I believe her. I believe I'm going to trust her, and I think she's proven that movie after movie after movie that we've made. And Jesse came and Ray came from Christine, really, and it was her endorsement saying, "You'd be lucky to get these guys in your movie. You'd be lucky." And then, of course, looking at their tape, we're looking at their scenes and movies I'm familiar with, and you go, yeah, we would be lucky. Now, I didn't know Jesse, but Louis did. Louis is a big fan, and so that meant something. It was like Louis got good taste, and he said Jesse's great. Peter Bratt, a filmmaker who Jesse's worked with for a long time, told me, "Jesse's your guy." He read the script and he said, "Jesse is Carlos." And so all these things just start adding up. At a certain point, it starts snowballing, and you follow your creative instincts, and you say your prayers, and then the stars just start lining up.
Luis, do you want to add to that? As being both a producer and an actor on this film, getting to work with such an incredible and diverse cast.
Yeah, the casting process was extremely fun. We sat through, many days, many hours, just kind of going back and forth. And we were, we felt super happy and blessed with every single one of the cast choices. Obviously, Jesse, it was a great honor to work with Jesse, as seeing his work for a long time, and just kind of having him on the short list of somebody that I would have wanted to work with. It's crazy that I got to work with him this early. But also Ray, I had seen some of his work before, and when I did a little bit more digging, I was just like, damn, like that's an impressive resume. But not only that, like a person like Ray is very well known and very well respected, especially in the Latino community. People know who this dude is, just like Jesse. And so just having these great Latino actors that are just powerhouses and that are out there doing this like great, work and just kind of paving paths left and right. That was really special. I felt like as a Latino myself, I felt like that was a beautiful thing for me to experience and see. These guys, come on from these heavy hitting projects and come on to art film and do the same. That was really neat.
Thank you very, very much. Well, I want to loop back to what I said a minute ago, because actors, inevitably, you get recognized when you're out in public. Looks like we might have frozen for a second. Hopefully that's just a little hiccup. Frozen?
You're not frozen on our end.
Not frozen. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, it was frozen for a second up on the screen there. As actors who have been in many, holy crap, many projects, inevitably when you're out in public, you get random people come up and say, "Hey, I recognize you from such and such." So has anyone yet been recognized for saying, "Hey, didn't I see you in Phoenix, Oregon?"
Only in Klamath Falls.
No, not walking down the street, but there have been many emails, many text messages. Many people got on the film and streamed it when it was online, and many people loved it. So the movie is the important thing. I don't think it's necessary for any of us to really take a pat on the back. The whole package itself is really what works. And if I could just give a little bit of love to Klamath Falls, within the story context, I was thinking about this. Gary could have easily placed this story anywhere, right? He could have taken a story about a person who's going through a midlife crisis and placed it anywhere. Had he placed it in the city, I think that he would have made James's character lonely. But being in Klamath Falls, he allowed James to be alone. And the environment in Klamath Falls that allowed him to be in this big, spacious, beautiful place alone gave him so much introspect into his own life that it sucks you in, because you're not distracted by the nonsense. And so the simplicity of Klamath Falls and the people that were there really added to it. So I think that made a huge difference. I don't think the film could read the same way or even be the same movie had it been anywhere else.
Great point.
You just teased something that we should mention also, and I'm not sure if Jesse and Ray, you guys know this, but last year, of course, the film being called Phoenix, Oregon, and the community of Phoenix, Oregon suffered tremendously in the wildfires. Well, Gary and Annie together did some great work with this film. They used the film through online streams to fundraise for the community and for theaters and for restaurants that were affected. Last month, OMPA, which is the Oregon media film agency, held their awards, and they gave a special award to Gary and Annie for the film Phoenix, Oregon, called the Commitment to Good Award for their charity work associated with the film Phoenix, Oregon.
I saw the award earlier today. Gary showed it off. Do you have it there, Gary? But it's a beautiful.
I don't have it in this room, but yeah, it's a nice looking award.
And again, it reiterates something. And again, this is one of the reasons that I'm so proud of this film, is it's been involved this year in something that I call film activism. And that's actually being able to use something that you've done just to entertain and to represent, but that it actually can impact in a good way something that's going on. So not only did it entertain people right at the beginning of the shutdown when people were kind of struggling as to what to do, so that was a wonderful thing about it, but it also was able to give to the theaters by sharing the revenue. And even though the filmmakers didn't get rich, they definitely had an impact in helping out the art theaters that were being impacted at that time. You know, they had no revenue coming in for a couple of weeks till people figured out what was going on. But then later on, to be able to help Phoenix, Oregon, and do a little fundraising with the namesake of our film, you know, that was beautiful because a lot of people didn't know what to do when that was going on. I know me and Louis were texting each other, but you feel helpless because you're in other places. So it was wonderful to be able to do that with the film. There was another film I was involved with the Brat Brothers, with Peter and Ben, that we did 27 years ago that dealt with racial inequities, and we used it to stimulate the Get Out the Vote. So all of this was going on with these independent film projects, and I just really felt so honored to be part of this film activism. So I'm glad that you brought that up because, again, that's just the cherry on top of being part of this wonderful project, is being able to use it to give back constantly. And I think that this film and other independent films that we work on like this and we give our love to are going to continue to impact exactly where they're supposed to. And again, that's the passion that we want to give ourselves to when we get involved with something like Phoenix, Oregon, you know?
We've got a few minutes left, so I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to have some final words. And I think we should start with the person who made the film possible, Barry Hanscom and his bowling alley. Barry, any final thoughts that you'd like to share about Phoenix, Oregon, and today?
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for getting together, because the story I heard was, it was a really good script, and people like James LeGros said, man, this is a good script. And he called Lisa, and people talked to one another, and they all worked together for a minimum wage here. That nobody got rich doing this film, but I think everybody got together. And I mean, like for me, for self, I thought it was really good. We needed to do it no matter what. It needed to be done. And we got everybody else together, and it was really a whole good group. The whole town got together, even like Reynaldo and everybody says, you know, the whole town got together and got behind this. And it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just, but everybody kind of got together, and we all pulled this together as one. And I really think it was really good. And if we can continue to do that, I think it's going to say good things for the town, the community, and the filmmaking here and everything. So, you know, thank everybody for getting together and working it out, and not just demanding on something that wasn't unattainable. So, yeah, thank you.
And we also need to say a huge thank you to the Ross Ragland Theater and their incredible staff who has helped make today happen. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Woo!
And everyone involved. How great is it that we can actually sit in a theater and watch a movie again and talk? I mean, that's just, I know I say that every time that we're able to hold an event, and I know Klamath is lucky that our COVID numbers are lower than in other parts of the country, but still, I missed this. I really, really missed doing stuff like this. And hopefully you guys, wherever you're located, can start doing it again sometime soon as well. We also need to thank Discover Klamath, KCDA, KFDA, Phil Studenberg, Doug Halverson, Barbara Mossy, Klamath Film, Klamath County Commissioners, the City of Klamath Falls, as well as the Public Works Department, and Seroptimus International Klamath, because without all of them, we don't get a historic marker either here in town. So thank you to all of those groups.
Thank you, Oregon Film Office. Thank you, OMPA. Thank you, Tim Williams. Thank you, Klamath Falls, Phoenix, Oregon.
Luis, do you have any final words that you would like to share about this incredible film project that you helped bring to life?
The only thing I would like to say is that filming in Klamath Falls was a wonderful experience. I would film in Klamath Falls again in a heartbeat. Yeah. I mean, just for the city, Barry from the get-go to, you know, welcome us to his bowling alley, and for it to, like Gary says, he became the perfect partner, and that is so true. And so, you know, once we had that established, and to be able to build around the city of Klamath Falls, and everybody be equally as great was really wonderful. So thank you, Klamath Falls, for being so great.
Thank you, Luis. Reynaldo, Mr. Mario Bentley Jr. any final words that you would like to share about this incredible film project you got to be a part of that is now in the record books as a #1 film in America and on the Oregon Film Trail?
I just want to say that I'm going to find somebody to make me that plaque in the keychain size, and that's around my keys if I get a shot at that. I had a great time. Thank you guys for hosting the film. Klamath Falls itself was amazing. Coming from a city boy that grew up on the concrete, getting out into the fresh air and being around people that are living at a different pace that take you back a notch so that you could slow down and enjoy what's around you. It was a great time. Fair warning, if you aren't in for a giant breakfast, maybe don't go to the Waffle Hut. Oh.
The entire cast basically took over the Cerulean Hotel and ate at the Waffle Hut every single day. So I'm surprised you could deliver lines without like burping in between.
That's it. Yeah. But,
good food in Klamath Falls, man. Good food. The Mexican restaurant. What was that one place we would go to?
That was good. Yeah.
Right on the boulevard. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of the place, Louis?
I'm sorry, I don't remember what the name is, but
it was the only Mexican restaurant open at that time. After hours. Kurt, do you know the name? Barry, do you know the name of it? It's right on the main drag.
I think you're talking about Sergio's.
I think that's it. Sergio's.
Yes.
That's the people there were beautiful. The family there was so loving. Once they realized who we were, they'd allow us to come in. They're close to closing, and they'd always stay open for us. And that's where they found out what was the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian, right? When Lisa said she didn't want the rice if it wasn't vegan. And I said I was a dirty vegan. I said, I'm a dirty vegan.
We have good food around here, but it's a tough time trying to find gluten-free and vegan in Klamath Falls.
No, there was a great couple of vegan places that took care of me, right, Gary? So I was bet. Me and Lisa, once we found out where our places were, we were solid. So even Klamath Falls was able to handle that. So.
Well, hopefully it doesn't take our remainder of time here, but I do want to give Jesse Borrego the floor for any final words that you may want to say about the film Phoenix, Oregon, and your experience with it.
Well, again, thank you so much to the Oregon Film Office, to the city of Klamath Falls, to Phoenix, Oregon, to the producers, the Pipers, the creators, the Lundgrens, Louis G and everything he does, all of that wonderful film group, those individuals that were there on the set with us, all of them are creative and beautiful filmmakers. So all of us together, in a great place like Klamath Falls and like Hanscom's with somebody like Barry backing us up, you can't help but make a great film. And I think that's the best thing about it is like Reynaldo said, it's about the film. The film is a beautiful piece of work and will live on forever. So, we all have something to be proud of, and that marker says it all. So thank you.
And thank you to you guys for responding to our emails saying, hey, do you want to be part of a cast reunion? or through agents and managers. It took some coercing, but eventually we reached all of you. So thank you very, very much for being a part of it. And we need to give final words to the man who made all of this possible, the writer and the director of Phoenix, Oregon. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh gosh, you write these movies and you hope people watch them and enjoy them. I think as a filmmaker, you want to make meaningful work and work that entertains and moves people, and it takes a lot of people to make that happen. It took all of us, our cast, our crew. It took so many of you in Klamath Falls, and thanks to the Oregon Film Office. Shooting in Oregon with the tax rebates is a big deal. It allowed us to come in under budget, and I think that I just hope that the film marker, and I know it already is doing this. It represents the film we made together, and I hope it lives on. You know, you only make a film once, but you can watch it forever. So I just hope that more eyeballs see the movie and more people are moved by it. So thanks, Kurt, for all you did to making this marker happen. Really, I give the credit to you for sort of pushing it through. So thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of Klamath Film, on behalf of Hanscom's Bowling Alley, on behalf of the Ross Ragland Theater, the Daily Bagel, everyone and every place that participated in the making of this film, Ben and Kim Piper, Ryan Nemi, the whole cast and crew, thank you for being a part of Phoenix, Oregon. Jesse and Ray, Luis, Gary, if there's anything we can ever do for you, you guys have my contact info. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you involved in maybe some of our future events as well.
Absolutely.
And thank you to our audience for coming today and hanging with us. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. And this film marker is not only going to be a recognition of the history of film in Klamath Falls, it's also going to be a beacon for our future.
Woo!
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much.